Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. That's me, by the way. Do please like and subscribe. It's down there. It does help, you know. Seriously, thank you very much for that. Listen, I'm going to talk today. A special request I had. As I say, if you've got any requests you want me to discuss, just put them in the comments down below, and I will make an effort to get round to dealing with them. Somebody asked me to speak about Myra Hindley. Yeah, that horrible, vicious, dead bitch that murdered the children and buried them on Saddleworth Moor. Well, I'm going to talk today about Myra Hindley and her accomplice Ian Brady. I say her accomplice because she was the one that actually snatched the children off the street, persuaded them to join her and Ian Brady for a little ride in the car so that they could torture, murder them and bury their bodies on the moors. When they had done this, I mean, it may be not known to most people, but what Hindley and Brady would do is then, when they buried them on the moors, they would take a little picnic basket and have a little picnic and a glass of wine seated above the buried bodies of the victims that they had placed there. So that is the wickedness of that bitch. And strangely enough, there is a connection between Myra Hindley, Ian Brady, and my family. For a start off, it started back in the 60s when my father was a CID officer and in the Criminal Investigation Department, and he was on the case that investigated the murders, and he was actually in court when Myra Hindley and Ian Brady were standing trial. I believe it was in Cheshire, but he was one of the officers there, and he told me himself that when they played the tape of the little children pleading to be released, he said the tears. He said. Well, he just said it was uncontrollable. It was so horrendous. That vicious, wicked bitch. So that was a connection between my father and that. Although the officer in charge of it, the superintendent in charge of it, used to visit our house when I was a young man. Joe Mounsey, his name was. Look it up. Don't just take my word for it. Have a look it up. Joe Mounsey was the superintendent who was behind the investigation. He insisted that the children that were going missing off the Manchester streets were being taken by a specific murdering people, individual, and anyway he discovered that it was Myra Hindley and Ian Brady. The next phase of my connection with the Moors murderers was at Wormwood Scrubs when I was working on the segregation unit, the block, and Ian Brady was one of the inmates there. A horrible, snidey, insignificant piece of crap he was, but he thought that he was important. He really did. Believe that he was something special and that he was just misunderstood. He thought he was the epitome of the outsider. And he had, and this is another kind of strange connection, with Ian Brady and myself. He'd studied and read a great deal of work by the philosopher Colin Wilson. And I knew Colin Wilson. And Colin Wilson was telling me that he'd been asked by Ian Brady to advise him and write the foreword for Brady's book, which is little more than an apology or an excuse for his murderous tendencies. It's called The Two Faces of Janus. And the foreword's written by by Colin Wilson. But seriously, Wilson told me that he realised that all that was happening here was that Brady was trying to boost his own image by associating himself with an internationally known philosopher and author because Colin Wilson had written his seminal work, The Outsider, which is a book about existentialism. And as I say, I knew Colin Wilson. His house was in a place called Goulburn Haven in Cornwall, right down on the coast, overlooking the sea. He had, in his back garden, he had three great big sheds, all full of books. His house was full of books. And another thing, Colin Wilson and I had a connection. He had letters from Spike Milligan, the comedian. So did I. So I still got them. And Spike Milligan always signed his letters Spike with a big S. A big S. He had a first edition copy of Puckoon, which is the novel written by Spike Milligan. Amazing man, Colin Wilson. He's gone now, sadly. So anyway, and there's another connection between Myra Hindley, Ian Brady, and my family. Myra Hindley was persuaded by the police by a man called Chief Superintendent Peter Topping. Look that up. Check my facts out. You know, there's people here say, "Oh, you're making all this up." Check it out. Yeah. And Peter Topping persuaded Myra Hindley to attend on the moors, Saddleworth Moors, with a team to actually try and locate the body of the missing child that they'd never located. Bennett, I believe his name was. Yeah. So, and the strange thing is that the officer that was handcuffed to Myra Hindley when she went round the moors was my brother, Detective Inspector Martin Sutton. And there will be clips of this somewhere. You'll see him. He's a great big tall fella, about 6'4", and Myra Hindley looks to be about 5 foot. Looks diminutive next to him. Quite funny, really. Yeah. So that was another connection between Myra Hindley. She supposedly died in prison. Listen, she was, I sincerely believe, that that was the only way they could get her out of prison was by faking her death. Now, I have no evidence to support this theory whatsoever, no evidence at all, other than my own experience of working as a hospital officer, effectively a nursing officer within the prison system, and I know how it works, and it doesn't work like they painted it. No. Number of strange occurrences within the prisons. Yeah. Anyway, that was my association with Myra Hindley, a horrible, vindictive, child-murdering bitch who should be boiled in oil for all eternity, in my opinion. So there you are. You asked me to speak about Myra Hindley. I have done so. And as I say, there's a strange connection between the Moors murderers and my family. Also a connection with other serial killers as well in my family, because we seem to have come across them quite frequently. I'm now going to lapse into the vernacular here, and there you go. That's the song dinger, by the way. Yeah, I'm going to read you a poem here. Well, it's prose work really by William Shakespeare. Yeah, because you can see my jacket's covered in what they call it. It's porridge. What a scruffy old bastard I'm turning into. This is William Shakespeare, The 7 Ages of Man. And thank you all very much for watching this. Do please like and subscribe, and give me a few comments. I will do my best to respond. If you've got any specific requests, then I'll do my best to have a look. I really will. The 7 Ages of Man by William Shakespeare. All the world's a stage, and all the men and all the women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whinnying schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad to his mistress's eye. Then a soldier, full of courage, strange oaths, and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe, and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. The 7 Ages of Man by William Shakespeare. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thank you very much.